Okay, all right. We're going live on Instagram and we are going live on Facebook. Instagram, we got JP Vanu, Hanlick, Crushin, Pato, Caleb. We got a bunch of people getting on Instagram. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Bracer, Kingermate, Sniper Fitness, Ivo, a bunch of guys getting on. Ricardo Lopez from Puerto Rico is on Facebook. Gang, I'm hoping you're enjoying your Sunday. By the way, share the live. Tag people to get on. I know I send a message on Instagram and on Snap. I will be doing one tonight. We did it last Sunday. This is back-to-back. First time in a long time we've done back-to-back Facebook Live together, which is quite exciting. Yes, LeBron, Irvin is pretty exciting. Great. Just a lot of good things going on. It's been a very strange day today. If you're excited that LeBron is at the Lakers, comment below. And I really want to know where everybody is from. We got people from Mexico. We got people from Europe. We got people from all over the place. Kind of tag what part of the world you're from as well. Sam, you're my favorite buddy as well. Sandra Tikas, we got a lot of people here. Jason Alcia here from Windy City, Chicago. Okay, awesome. All right, well, let's get right into it. Look, I'm going to give you a couple of my thoughts. Tomorrow, I'm going to be in Newport at a private function. It'll be a, how do I put this? It'll be a political / economical / somewhat controversial event that I'm hosting for having to do with, anyways, I'll be in Newport tomorrow. It has to do with politics. It has to do with economy. I'm excited about it, but I don't want to talk about that here tonight. I do know I'm going to be in Newport tomorrow. Quick shotgun and I'll leave. And I was planning on being here for a while with you tonight. I will not be because I just got some news from Iran for my dad. And so it's not, it is not the most exciting news for my father. So if you can understand, I will not be with you here for too long. But I did want to keep my commitment and get on. I don't want to go on a downer. I don't need to bring more stuff on you guys on what's taking place with your life. But we had an interesting event that took place, a loss of a loved one. But we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We got a strong family here. Okay. So let's talk World Cup first. So people have been messaging me on World Cup, you know, what my thoughts are. Pat, what can we learn from business on World Cup? And is there a lesson to be learned as entrepreneurs from the World Cup? And I'm going to tell you exactly, I believe 100%. By the way, just so everybody knows, my Instagram is full batteries. My Facebook is full batteries. Keep tagging other people to get on. Keep tagging other people on Facebook to get on. I love the love I'm getting as I'm talking about content here on this side. Instagram, we're getting a lot of love on Instagram. Facebook, we're getting some as well here. So what can you learn from World Cup? What can you learn from World Cup and what took place and what can entrepreneurs take away from it? Look, here's the one thing I will tell you. Here's one thing I will tell you, and I think it's very, very important for everybody to remember this. Everybody to remember this. The highest paid guys in the World Cup. So there's two things today, right? You got people that are Messi fans. You got people that are Ronaldo fans. You got diehard Messi people, diehard Ronaldo people, diehard Neymar people, right? And then you have diehard Mexico people. It's different, right? It's different. Diehard Croatia people. It's different. Diehard Belgium people. It's different. It's different. So we got a lot of people that are diehard individual players. There's a lot of diehard team players. There are people in sports that are LeBron fans who will now be Laker fans, right? But they're not Cleveland Cavalier fans. They're LeBron fans. There are people that are diehard Laker fans. Yeah, sometimes I had a lot of respect for people who are Clipper fans, even though you lose a lot, but at least you're a fan of a brand, especially when you only had Eli, Danny Manning, and I mean, you guys had nobody. Oliver Miller back in the days for some of you guys that follow the Clippers. Albert, how you doing, buddy? It's good to have you on as well. So what can you learn from the World Cup? Here's the one thing that my biggest takeaway is. There are guys that have $350 million contracts. You can call them Messi, you can call them Ronaldo. They're making so much money. The highest paid guys in the world are soccer players, minus Mayweather. Aside from that, these guys are making a lot of money per year. Their contracts are astronomical. Some of these guys make $80 million a year. And I watched Messi's energy. I watched Messi play twice. Once I watched him play at the El Clasico in Madrid. And once I watched him play against Espanyol. Both times he won. First time he won with a penalty kick. It was all over the place on ESPN when this took place. And second time I saw him score 3 goals against Ronaldo, and he scored his 500th goal while I was in Real Madrid. And the game started, he got elbowed in the face and it was bleeding, and he was holding his mouth the entire time, and he just had vengeance. I wanted to prove a point, right? And he went out there and he won the game, and it was a big deal, and people were celebrating, et cetera, et cetera. I sometimes worry if these guys are getting paid so much money. And listen, I'm a capitalist. I want these guys making $100 million, $200 million a year. As long as the sport's making money, they ought to be making a lot of money. I don't mind if they make $1 billion a year one day. I got a message here from somebody saying, oh my gosh, it's a shame the fact that a LeBron James gets paid $153 million for a 4-year contract where so many people are poor and et cetera, et cetera. But the guy doesn't realize is this guy's busted his behind to get to where he's at right now, and he gives millions of dollars to people for scholarship. I don't mind if LeBron James makes $200 million a year. If he brings a $300 million a year value to the company, which is the Lakers, I don't mind if he makes $200 million a year income. But here's the challenge with the World Cup. Sometimes if you become a celebrity too soon, and you have wealth, and you have money, and you go to this attitude. LeBron used to have this 8 years ago. If you guys remember one time LeBron lost, and everybody was asking him in the press conference, and LeBron said the following. LeBron said, look, I'm going to go back to my $18 million a year income. I'm going to go to my big house. I'm going to go to this, something like that, he said. And everybody said, what kind of a message is that to say? Are you trying to say the rest of us are poor and you're not? Okay, let's say that was a part of the message. I don't need to read into that part of the message. Here's the challenge with that. If you're only playing the game for money and fame and accolades and all that stuff, World Cup isn't for you. See, the World Cup is about emotion. It's not a war, but it is. You're representing your country's flag. For 4 years, your country is it. So a lot of people say, Messi didn't have any help, or Ronaldo didn't have any help. I'm sorry, but what do you want to say? Chicharito's getting up on stage and talking about why can't Mexico win? He's got pride behind his country. And he doesn't make the kind of money those guys make, but he also makes still good money. You get a 19-year-old kid from France that's running around proving a point that he is, look, I'm here, running faster than outrunning everybody. 19-year-old kid. He's playing his hearts out. But I worry if that guy at 32 is going to play that hard. I worry if a Messi is done because it's just about money. Okay, put your hand around his head. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for your loss and all this other stuff. If it's just about money and fame and all that other stuff, you'll slow down. A lot of you guys send me messages and say, Pat, I want to be so famous. I want the world to know me and all this other stuff. That's great. Awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Go become famous. Dwayne Johnson once said, I told my agency that I want to be Will Smith and more. That was his business plan. Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead, when she left Russia at the age of 20, about to be 21, said, by the time I come back, I'm going to be famous. The world's going to know who I am. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it can't be just about the money. It cannot. I've had a lot of people I competed against with over the years. And those who were about money, they eventually slow down. Every single time. Every one of them. If it was just about money. It has to be bigger than that. It has to be something that gets you emotional. It has to be something that behind closed doors, you can go 7 minutes and you can go in a mode of crying. It has to get to that point. You have to be in tears when you lose. You have to have pain when you lose. I didn't see pain in Messi's eyes. I saw disappointment. I didn't see pain in these guys' eyes. I saw simple disappointment. It can't be like that. It's got to be more than that. Now somebody may say, well, they've experienced a lot of loss and all this other stuff. That's fine. I'm just telling you. Look, this happens to a lot of people. You're coming up, everything is emotions. You're angry. You have a point to prove, and that's good. You got a chip on your shoulder. I have a prove a point. I can do something big. They didn't believe in us. We can pull this off together. We can go out there and make this happen. And if behind closed doors, like, Listen, who gives a shit? We're going to go back to our money anyways. Guys, let's face it. We have money. We have this. We have fame. We have all this other stuff. Can't be like that. That's a boring life, by the way. It's a boring life. Listen, I've been broke, and I've had no money. I've had millions, and I've had a net worth over 100 million. I had nice cars, the Ferrari, the Lambo, the i8, the Rolls Royce, you name them. I've had a lot of strange stuff that happened to my life. I live in a crazy home that could be a hotel for some people. I've been all over the world. I've partied with, been with princes, with kings, with senators, with governors, with billionaires, with multi-billionaires, with people that have been on cover of Time magazines and all this other stuff. If it was just about money and fame, I would have stopped a long time ago. And so what does this have to do with you? Before some of you guys get upset, the diehard Messi fans, and say, screw you, you don't know what it is to be a Messi, and you don't know what it is to Ronaldo. Look, these guys are living their life. They're living their dreams. I got nothing against them. But the point of tonight's message isn't about those guys. It's about you. If you're just chasing for the money, that has a lifespan. If you're just chasing to go find out what it is to be a millionaire and drive nice cars and put it in people's faces, so okay, let's just say it happens, then what? And by the way, there's nothing, I highly recommend you being a millionaire. I highly, highly recommend you being a millionaire. So please don't take this as a altruistic message about altruism and, Patrick, you're not about becoming rich. I want everybody here to become a millionaire. I highly recommend it. I endorse it. I think you need to have several $1 million in a bank account. I think it's healthy for you if you have millions of dollars in a bank account. I highly recommend it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it Sunday night. Most of the world is watching TV. You're on this Facebook Live. If you're paying attention and you're not doing big games and all this other stuff and watching TV, some of you guys are in a private place right now. And you're sitting here waiting for me to stop so you can ask your questions. This isn't about me. This isn't about, Messi. This isn't about Ronaldo. This isn't about LeBron James. This isn't about any of that stuff. This is about you tonight. Everybody at some point either has those moments where they step away and they question themselves, not question everybody else. You question yourself. What are your real motives behind closed doors? Are your motives good? Are you secretly lazy? Are you full of it? Your word means nothing to yourself. You're so full of it, you haven't taken the time out to sit down and figure out exactly who you really are. You don't even know who you are. You act differently in front of your mom. You're a different person in front of your dad. You're a different person in front of your friends, your peers, your coworkers. You're just a different person 8 times a day. It's a rough life to live, right? Because you have to act. Can you imagine if you have to act 10 different movies every day? Actors can't do that. Many human beings do this, right? It's not healthy for you. So I hope you, watching this, somehow, some way, this message comes to you to be thinking about what kind of a life you want to live and who you want to be. If you're going to go get money, great, awesome. It's got to be bigger than that. You'll stop. And then when you stop, and then what? Is it just, that's it? Was it just about you making the money and no more value for other people? It's got to be bigger than that. So while you watch some of these games, and you see some of them are just, this is national stage, I'm about to be famous, and some of them are playing their hearts out. It's hard to play your hearts out when you start making a lot of money. Very hard to play your hearts out when you start making a lot of money. It's very easy for a lot of you guys to say right now, oh, if I was in that stage, and some of you guys may say, Pat, you sound like a critic. I'm not. Everything to me is about me getting a lesson for myself. One of my dad's blood died tonight. I watched his reaction. I remember 6 years before his mother died, and he said, when my mother dies, you will see. I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to cry. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? And I watched him like a hawk. I watched him tonight like a hawk. He has a reason to live. 76 years old. He's got 4 grandkids, 5 grandkids. Both his daughter and his son are alive. He works every day. The guy's a freaking machine. But he loves people, man. Everything to him is about a purpose. That's why I respect the man as much as I do. And so I want to emulate that. And so my message to you tonight, as you think about this, is to realize I don't know a lot of people that are bigger competitors than me that want to go out there and compete in the marketplace. I don't know a lot of people. There are many of them, but I don't know a lot of them. I am competitive. What I want to do with my life is much bigger than money. What we're planning on doing, history books will write about. I don't say this because I need another $100 million. I say it because I'm going to do this till I die, until this becomes a reality. It's in my bones. It's in my blood. I wake up thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's on my mind at night before I go to sleep. And it's on my mind throughout the day. I talk about this with the people I work with on a daily basis. I talk about it with my kids. I talk about it with my wife. I talk about my dad. I talk about anybody I touch. I talk about this stuff. Because that's the real juice of life. Everything else to me is boring. I make money so I can spread the mission of what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so, again, tonight, if you're still watching this and you're on, this is about you. This is about you. What do you want to do? You want to make money? The formula is easy. It's so easy, it's insane. You want to be famous? The formula is very easy. It's not hard being famous. Really, it's not. You want to live in a big house? There are millions of million-dollar homes around the world. It's not a big deal. You want to have a Ferrari or a Lambo? They've made hundreds of thousands of them. They're out there. You can get one. You want to have a $50,000 watch? They have so many of them. You want to have a $200,000 statue? They got them. You want to own $1 million baseball card? They're out there. You want to have some sick furniture that costs 70 grand? You can buy them. You want to have some work out there where you say, this is furniture, this desk was built in 1828 and it was president's desk. You can buy it for $300,000. It's out there. You want to make history? That's work. That is work. That's why Maradona will never pay for anything in Argentina till the day he dies. Neither will Pele in Brazil. These people changed the game. LeBron will never pay for anything in Cleveland. Ever. 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 Only guy that ever brought a championship to the city of Cleveland. Cavs, Indians, Browns. He's the only guy. That's history. That's not money. That's why when he won with Miami, he wasn't emotional. But when he won with Cleveland, he was in tears. In tears. He cried in a different way. When Michael Jordan won, right after his dad died, he was in a fetal position, crying, wouldn't give up the trophy. You know what's the only thing he thought about? His dad. That's all he thought about. Is his dad. So, I hope that's what drives you. It's the message I had for you tonight. I hope that's what drives you. Everything else is secondary. Everything else is secondary. So, having said that, I'm going to stick around for a few minutes for questions. I got to go put my kids down, and I like to spend some time with my kids, with my dad. And so if you missed a part of it, I'm going to keep this live so you can watch the rest of it from the beginning. I highly recommend you do watch it from the beginning. And tag other people that need to also watch this and share it if other people want to watch it as well. But if you got any questions, I got 10 minutes with you. So let's get right into it. All right. I am looking at both of them. CB Monroe, you're the man. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Victor from Zimbabwe, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're on, such a trooper. JP Vanu, great work, Pat. Thank you. Darth Maximus, I want to combat human trafficking on a massive scale. Go get him, baby. We need a lot of people doing that. Okay. Question. Whatever questions you got. Rodrigo asked me the question, how have you changed history? I haven't yet. I have not changed history yet. But I am certain that, we're going to put more people in the White House than any other company in the history of mankind. I know that. I can't tell you why, I just know that. Because I know the principles that we teach needs to be taught to younger people. They need to learn these concepts. I don't go to countries that support capitalism. I go to countries that don't support capitalism. And I intentionally go in the middle of the street and I talk to strangers about it. Because those are the people that need to know about capitalism. They're going to walk away and say, who was this guy here? A Middle Eastern guy, 6'4", scary looking. What is he doing talking to us about capitalism? This was very weird. And he had no motive. Like he didn't sell us anything. Why is he talking about that? See, I know what capitalism did to a guy like me. I'm a regular guy. I'm a 1.8 GPA kid. Broken family. Parents got a divorce. Didn't do too well in school. I wasn't the high school, prom king. I didn't even go to prom. I wasn't the best looking kid in school. I had a lot of D's and F's. I was good in one subject. I didn't play any organized sports, nothing. But the concept of capitalism got into my heart. I went and investigated it. I used my dad's work ethic and my level of curiosity to want to learn, and it worked for me. And I want to make sure everybody else experiences that as well. Because if a simple guy like me can do it and get to where I'm at right now, everybody around the world needs to know capitalism, but in a proper way. Most people don't know how to explain it properly. Most people, the way they explain it, it sounds like it's selfish, it's greedy, it's this, it's that, and people are not turned on by it. It has to be explained in a proper way. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. Years ago, and this has to do with politics, but it has everything to do with the way of thinking. Many, many years ago, conservatives, Republicans, they used to go around saying they don't believe in abortion, so they called it anti-abortion. And they lost a lot of followership. And Democrats called it pro-choice. And then all of a sudden, one day somebody comes and says, we have to stop talking about anti-abortion. So what do we call it? If they call it pro-choice, we say pro-life. They call it pro-life, boom, everything turned around. What's my point? Am I trying to get political with you? No. Most capitalists don't have a clue how to explain the fundamental concepts of capitalism to people where they walk around saying, this makes sense. And we're going to do a good job explaining what capitalism really means. And value attainment is a big part of that. So you asked me a question about, have we made history yet? Not yet. But stick around, see what'll happen. See what'll happen. Okay, next question. All right, let's get some good questions here. Work-life harmony, no such thing as work-life balance. Don't you think system that has both capitalism and socialism is best? I do not, Petri, but that's a whole different thing. Erica Del Toro, good to have you on. What books do you recommend to read on for leadership? So I can tell you what book we're reading this month in our home office staff. We are reading Lincoln on Leadership by Donald T. Phillips. It's an insane book on leadership. If you haven't read, it's great. You ought to read it. How can you find your life's purpose? Saeed, I've talked about that so many times, but I'll tell you, it's based on three different emotions on how to find your life purpose. You grab a paper and pen. It's very simple. You grab a paper and pen, okay, and you make 3 lines like this. Let me show it to you exactly how you find your life purpose. I know it sounds crazy. It can't be that simple, Pat. Are you serious? Well, I'll explain it to you. Here's what you do. Okay? Here's what you do. And then you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I challenge you to actually do that tonight and see what you come up with. Here's how simple it is to find your life purpose. Here's a sheet of paper, okay? Here's a sheet of paper. You take a sheet of paper, you write these 3 things, and you make a line. So 1 bucket, 2nd bucket, 3rd bucket. Here's what it is. First one, what bothers you? That's number 1. What bothers you? Number 2, what do you love? Number 3, what do you hate? It's that simple, okay? What bothers you? What do you love? What do you hate? You write this out. Grab it, start writing. For instance, what bothers you? People who play games bothers you. Great, write it down. What else bothers you? Somebody said human trafficking. I hate human trafficking. That doesn't bother you. You hate that. You write it down there. What do you love? I love kids. What else do you love? I love seeing marriages work out. Great. What else do you love? I love animals. I love people, thinking for themselves. I love people being independent. Great. What else do you hate? I hate this. I hate that. I hate this. I hate people being manipulated. I hate all this stuff that you write, right? What bothers you? As you go through this, which one can make you emotional, angry, happy, upset, annoyed instantly by just thinking about it? Okay? Which one? Which one? Once you figure that out on what it is, start writing it out. Then ask yourself, how can I use the business that I have, the business that you run, to help support that spirit for you? For instance, for me, I hate manipulation. I hate it. I hate people who play games. I hate bullies. I genuinely hate bullies, right? Okay, Pat, what does that have to do with business? Everything. Our educational system bullies kids. It bullies parents. It bullies kids and pins them against parents. Okay? I can't stand it. Our politicians bully, manipulate, and play games with the people to pin them against each other, even though we have so much more in common than we think we do. That irritates me. I hate that. So it produces an emotion that makes me want to go out and spread the concept of capitalism to everybody around the world, and I work the way I do and have the kind of energy to go out there and talk about it. That's purpose. It's a very simple formula, but only you can do that. Okay? So it's a simple formula for you to write down on a sheet of paper. By the way, I challenge you to do it tonight. I'd be so curious to see how many of you guys will actually do it tonight. I'm dead serious. Watch how few people will actually do it tonight. Watch. Watch how few people will actually do it tonight. But I know a handful of you will. And those of you guys are going to get something out of it. Okay, next. So how do you stay so productive? What is your system? What level of wealth makes you happy? It's not the level of wealth that makes me happy. How are you going to celebrate 4th of July? And what does it mean to you? Marvin Del Valle out of Orlando. So Marvin, the biggest, I never understood what 4th of July was in America. Obviously, we've got a lot of people around the world that are watching this. You're from different countries. So 4th of July for me didn't mean a lot. It just meant fireworks and barbecues and things like that until I joined the Army. So let me tell you what happened when I joined the Army. So I joined the Army, and I went to our unit at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and everybody got out. It was like 50,000 people in the field. And before they started the fireworks, they started telling stories. Let me tell you what happened to my commander when I lost him in war. Let me tell you when I talked about my first sergeant. Let me tell you what happened, and they started talking about all this stuff. Let me tell you why America got freedom, 4th of July, 1776. Let me tell you what the concept of this whole thing's from the British. Let me tell you why they did this. Let me tell you the power of freedom of religion, freedom of, assembly. All this stuff they're talking about, like in Iran, we didn't have freedom of assembly. I couldn't get around and talk about this stuff. This is why a lot of this stuff is not available in Iran. Freedom of religion. I couldn't get up there and talk about the fact that I'm a certain religion or denomination. People were afraid. Freedom of speech. You couldn't get out there and talk about how terrible the president is, or else you could get arrested and all this stuff. All this stuff, I'm sitting there saying, oh my gosh, this country offers all these benefits. No wonder North Korea is where it's at. No wonder Cuba is where it's at. We were getting ready to take a few hundred people to Cuba, and the last minute we couldn't because we got orders from the embassy that it's not the safest place to go right now, and we got letters. Why not? Here's a guy that believes in capitalism, wants to go into a country that's a communistic nation, and you're going to go and spread your concepts around there? Not a good idea for you to do that. So what happened? We had to change it up. What are all these things that are taking place, right? And so, you sit there and you think about that, about 4th of July, and you realize, for me, that's what it means now. Freedom is worth every ounce of energy you put to save, and you can't ever take it for granted. So most people will do barbecue, most people will watch sports, most people will hang out. I'm just going to go keep spreading the concept of freedom to everybody else, is what I'll be doing on the 4th of July. So Marvin Del Valle, good question. Gang, I'd love to stick around with you, but I cannot do it tonight. I got to go spend some time with Pops. I got to go spend some time with family. I really enjoyed it. For everybody that got in a little late, go on early and watch the entire thing. I'll highly recommend you watching it and tag some other people that need to also watch it again. And by the way, we may do this again next Sunday night. And last but not least, we are currently at around 745,000 subs for Valuetainment. We are 255,000 subs away from crossing 1 million. Once we cross 1 million, we will do our first live Valuetainment conference, which I cannot wait to meet every single one of you at the first Valuetainment Live conference. I will make one guarantee to you. By the time you leave this conference, the 2.5 days, you're going to walk away and say, I've never been part of a business meeting ever that increased my value of myself and the kind of money I'm going to make in the marketplace like this event. Not a single event. There's going to be many that are going to teach you, excite you, make you feel good, all this other stuff, and then you leave a week later, you're back to normal. No. Your value as an individual is going to increase from this conference. So I can't wait to have that conference once we cross 1 million subs. Having said that, have a good night, everybody. Much love to you. And we may do it again next Sunday, same time. Love you. Bye-bye.